CGC is here getting to know Neal Adams. We're very excited that he took some time to sit down with us today.
And we are being shot on the smallest camera on earth. I swear to God, it is the smallest thing I've ever seen. The only thing that would be smaller than this camera would be a wristwatch.
We understand that you were instrumental in promoting artist rights and getting their original pages back.
No, that wasn't me. That was my dad.
That was your dad?
Neal Adams.
How did that come about?
It came about because Neal didn't like, you know, and there was a lot everywhere in comic books. When I came into comics, they were destroying artwork. There were no royalties. They were printing on toilet paper. They treated artists like dogs. They didn't have any contracts. No contracts.
So you guys were instrumental in being able to get the artist's original.
I don't know about us guys. It was me.
It was you.
It was me. Most guys were a little afraid to do anything because, you know, their livings depended on it.
Yes.
Since my living didn't depend on it, I did a lot of advertising and other stuff. Then I could step forward where other people didn't and were afraid to.
Well, it's amazing that you did that for the other artists out there.
Well, you know, if you can, you sort of got to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you're in a room with 5 guys and the only way to open the door is for somebody who can open the door to push the door open, and the other 5 guys can't do it and you can, then you push the door open.
You push the door open.
It's sort of your responsibility.
When pencil first hits paper for you, what's the first part of a character that you draw?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I actually draw the circle of the head to get the size of the head. Then I draw across the eyes to get where the eyes go. And then I guess I work on the nose. I work on the nose, and then I space the eyes, and then decide where the mouth is. It's really sort of classical drawing. When you look it up in the books and they show you the circles with the lines like that.
You follow the fundamentals.
Pretty much it. I figure my way of thinking is that if it's gone far enough for it to appear in a book, it probably makes sense.
Absolutely. And who is your favorite character to draw?
I don't really have a favorite character.
Really?
No, I couldn't care less. I honestly don't. First of all, most comic book characters are boring. They have the same faces. And they're really just naked men with lines on their No, aren't they really? They're pretty much naked men with lines on their bodies and the trunks to show the boots. But and women, they're pretty much naked women with lines on their body. So you're really drawing anatomical structures without really any drawing involved. There's very little clothing, you know, and folds and stuff. So I guess it sort of makes Batman interesting because he's got a really interesting cape.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say that would put him above most characters. Superman.
Not your favorite, but you put him up there.
I would put him up there. I would say Thor's pretty good, you know, because he's got a really big cape and he's got the wings on his head and a hammer. The hammer's good. You know, you can draw it bad or you can draw it good. Fantastic Four, just naked people. Just saying. Spider-Man, what is he? Nobody could be more naked than Spider-Man. You were lucky he doesn't have. I mean, he doesn't even have a nose or a mouth or eyes. He's just like a ball, you know. Like, really, it's a naked guy with a lot of lines on his body, and the lines are boring. Drawing Spider-Man's lines on his body, incredibly boring.
Well, you are a very, very talented artist.
We know that, right? That's why you're talking to me.
That is why I'm talking to you.
Your little tiny itsy-bitsy camera.
When you first broke into the business, how was it for you? Did you face many rejections?
I faced nothing but rejections because when I first broke into the business, I couldn't break into the business. They were, you guys don't know the history necessarily of comics, but in 1953, which is not when I broke into business, the Congress attacked comic books.
Oh, really?
And half the comic book companies went out of business. So the comic book companies were holding on by their fingernails. And the idea of hiring somebody new was anathema. It was a joke. I went into DC Comics to show my samples out of high school, and I was professional at that point, and they wouldn't even look at them. They would not let me see an editor. They would not let me talk to anybody. An old man by the name of Bill Perry came out to the reception area, and he said, "Kid, do something else. Don't waste your time. We're going to be out of business in a year."
Wow.
No, we're not going to be. And that's what everybody said. And then there wasn't a lot of everybody's to be. There were, there's no Marvel. There was a company called Timely, and they were surviving in some rat hole somewhere. Archie Comics was no bigger than the corner of this area here. I have 3 rooms that are as big as Archie Comics in my studio in New York.
Wow.
And it was nothing. They were little mom and pop companies that were surviving, and nobody would hire you. The first work I did was for Archie Comics, and they were even reluctant.
I was going to ask you, how did you first manage to break in?
I had to trace Dan DeCarlo's pages just to convince him that I could draw Archie. And I did. I was delighted to trace his pages. And they said, well, that's close.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, CGC, getting to know Neal Adams.
Hey,
and
guys.
we thank him so much for his time.
You can be recorded by an itsy bitsy camera too.